everyone. So now that we've made it through the welcome, let's get to the and explore the orientation module. But on the way, let me first stop and say the most important thing you need to do right away is click on the attendance check-in and go in and check into the class. This is fundamentally important because it's really what allows for you to be able to tell me that you plan on staying in the class and going through the 6 weeks. And you need to do this right away because we have a census at the college that tracks how many students we have. So if you're not going to take the class, then you need to drop it right away. And normally the way it happens is by Friday or Saturday of the first week, if I don't see that you've done any of the attendance check-in or done the getting to know each other module, uh, or not module, but discussion, then I will drop you from the class. So it is important that you do this right away. It takes 2 seconds, so please do take care of it ASAP. Right below that, you'll see my office hours. And basically, in the summer, we don't have office hours that are required. However, I will make available anytime by appointment for us to do a Zoom conversation, or we can do phone call. And if you want to set up an appointment with me, you just send me an email, and then I will have you click in through here. You'll simply click on this site here, which is my Zoom homepage, and then we will have our conversation. So pretty simple and easy, but that's how we will do our appointments when you need to meet with me. Below there is really the core of the first week, which is the full orientation module. And inside of here, there's lots of information. Of course, the welcome video that you've already seen, and then followed by there's information about myself and my bio as professor. And in here, you'll see my background if you want, and some of the stuff I do, local news in San Diego. So you can see some of the things that I've done with and still continue to do with news networks. Again, contacting me, I just listed showing you that. This orientation will be here. So this, what you're watching now, is what you'll click on when you're doing the module orientation. And then the to-do list basically just lays out for you just what you need to have done by certain dates. So the attendance check-in, as I mentioned, and then of course the discussion, getting to know each other discussion, those are important for starting the class. So you definitely want to get those taken care of ASAP. And then most of these items here are really just to assess where you are. So if you've never had online class, if you've never been in Canvas, this is where you would basically learn and be able to sort of get going on getting yourself ready to do the online course. Remember, you got 6 weeks to do this, so you really have to stay on top of this. That's why the first week, is orientation, plus we'll start the first chapter. But it is important that you kind of navigate this, and this is really the resource tool for the class. Since the class is asynchronous, this is where you come to get the help that you need to be able to conduct the class and get through it. So if so anytime you have to go back and if you have information, you can certainly reach out to me, but most of it's going to be sitting right here in this orientation module. Also, if you're an EOPS student or you're not sure but you're interested, there's a video here from Karen from EOPS, and she's a counselor, and she would be she tells you about basically the resources that are available to you, and her and the team of counselors over there, who are all outstanding, would be happy to work with you and to provide you with information about what's available for you as an EOPS student. I'm just going to go through some of the highlights here. So for example, here's the academic year calendar. And then below there, which just shows the dates, like for example, 4th of July is a holiday, and Juneteenth, which is why we start on the 20th instead of the 19th of June. And then here, this is really important because these are the dates that are important for the summer semester. So in here, you'll see the breakdown of certain dates. So classes start on the 20th. The late registration deadline is here. So June 22nd is the late registration deadline. And then below there, you'll see the deadline to drop. So if you decide you don't want to take this class or any class, you have to drop by June 27th to get a full refund. And then July 4th, of course, is the holiday. And then July 19th is the last date to drop for the summer session course completely. So if you're going to drop for the summer session, that's the time that you would have to do it by. But by the 19th of July, unless there's some mitigating circumstance, that you don't get refunded at that point. And then July 27th is when it ends. So it's a very fast 6 weeks. But I think you'll find it really worthwhile and informative and a really great experience, because you'll probably have a lot of students from other places too, not just from IVC. And then the syllabus. And the syllabus, and I'll go through it and just give you a quick look. The syllabus basically is your guideline. It's the contract between you, the student, and myself, the professor for the class. And this is basically where you get a chance to assess all the requirements for the course. So the course description is laid here. The student learning outcomes are laid out. The course objectives are laid out. For most of you, the most important thing is going to be the grades, the points for scores. And in that, you'll see that, so for the chapter summaries, there are 6 chapter summaries that are worth 20 points each. There are discussion posts that are worth 40 points each, and there's 6 discussions and 6 summaries. And the total points, as you can see, are 360. However, I will let you know that if you do the discussions, you do a very good job of them, you can actually get above 40 points. I've had students get as high as 50 points because they did such outstanding work. So that's will be up to you. See, and what you probably, if you don't know, you'll soon know, is that we don't have a plus or minus system in the community college. So it is A, B, C, D, or F. I don't particularly like that idea, but that's the way they run their show. So what I do is I accommodate it by recognizing that. So if you get a high B, like a 87% or 88%, I will kick you to the A. And if you get a 77, 78%, which normally is a C, I will round you up to the B. And if I say, and the more I see you put in effort, I will reward you for your effort. So my goal is to try and get all of you to pass the class. But I will tell you that you earn the points, you earn the grade you get. It's not me giving you a grade. It's you doing the work, and then the grade comes, right? So, the important thing is to communicate with me, and as I said before, and to let me know if you have any issues or anything that is causing you to not be able to do the work. Okay. And then the textbook information, just gives you a general outline of the textbook. And then here is the most important thing for you, which is the textbook itself. And as I've told you before, the textbook is available directly to you here online in Canvas, and you can also download the PDF of the textbook. So it is a zero cost textbook to you. So you can save the chunk of money that you would normally be spending on that. And the most important things in here really surround the discussions. And the discussions is basically as if we were in a classroom and we were talking about the question that I pose in each chapter that we cover. And you have to respond to each one directly as if I asked you the question. And then you have to read and respond to 3 of your classmates. So there should be at least a minimum of 4 responses. And I expect each response to be at least a paragraph, not just one or 2 sentences. That does not show that you have really understood and gathered and really use your critical thinking and analytical skills. So my goal here, and I'll show you some samples just to give you an idea of what some of my students in the past have done. As you can see, Mary Poppins was one of my students. No, I just changed the name. But you can see, so here was the question that was posed in this particular class. And this is significant. And even though it doesn't look like much, it actually is several, like a full paragraph. These are short paragraphs. Here's another sample of somebody's response. But it's to give you an idea of what level of work that I'm expecting from you in terms of the work that you do in the class. So it's not a lot, but I do expect you to do it. Obviously, I do expect it to be your own work, not plagiarized, not chat GPT or AI stuff, because we can track all that now. I don't want to, belabor it. I think that there are lots of good ways to use it, but if I find that it will count as plagiarism, and plagiarism, as you know, is when you pass somebody else's work off as your own. So please don't do that, because it will cause you to get an F and possibly be forwarded on to the Student Affairs Office for discipline. So please don't do that. And then lastly, the getting to know each other. This is where basically a chance for you to get to know your other classmates. Um, and one of the things I think is important here about that is the fact that I think it's important that one, we get not only do we get to know each other, but also the fact of just being able to share ideas about some of the discussions we have. I do expect you to be respectful. I do not expect you to cyberbully any of your classmates. If you disagree on some of the things that we talk about in our discussions, do it respectfully, not maliciously. These are constructive discussions, and we will respect the differences that each of us may have about certain things. But think of it as a learning opportunity. You're certainly entitled to your own opinion, but your opinion is only one opinion. So please be aware of that. This is really supposed to be a learning experience. Okay. Um, and I think the last thing I'll show you, which I should have shown before, I think I missed it when I was doing the syllabus, uh, is the course roadmap, which is actually the last page of the syllabus, which basically lays out the class for you week by week, the assignments. So you can see here what's expected of you each week. This is pretty simple, but this is, again, for you to gauge that. Okay. And then the next thing I'll show you, and this will be the last chunk that I'll share with you in this orientation, is these are basically the weekly modules for the teaching part of the class. So you'll see when we get into this segment, chapter 1 title, chapter overview, which basically tells you a little bit about the chapters, and then inside of that I break it down into the two headings in the chapter. So one will be the learning objectives, the second will be the lecture, and this will be my video lecture that you'll be watching. And then your resources, well, I also put the link to the textbook here, so you don't have to go all the way up to the top. You can actually click in here, and the textbook is in here. You just scroll to here's chapters. That's the items for chapter 1 in the textbook. And then the next one for chapter 2, I just pull out what you need for each one. Or you can, if you have the book online, you want to download the PDF, you can do that. And then you've got it all at home. But you have access in both ways. And then the PowerPoints for the chapter, chapter videos. So if there's videos for the chapter, not every chapter has videos, but I try to make things that are experiential. As you can see here, this just discusses some of the aspects of politics. And I do expect you to watch them because they're short and they're usually very important to help you understand in a broader context about the topic for the chapter. And then lastly, under the assignments, the chapter summary and the chapter discussion. The chapter summaries basically are just after you've read the chapter and gone through everything, just for you to summarize what was the general theme of the chapter, what did you think was most important from the chapter, what did you get from it, and then lastly, to provide an example to support the answer for number 2. So if you found something important, give me an example. So I want to make sure that tells me that you're doing the chapter readings. They should be probably about anywhere from 2 to 4 paragraphs, so about a page in length is what I expect the summaries to be. No more than a page, though. And then, of course, the discussions. So the first discussion, for example, and this is the last thing I'm going to show you, is it's laid out in here, and it just basically poses the question, and then you'll go through and respond. You click on there's a button on yours on the student view, which is over here. This will be the view that you'll see, and you'll just click on the response, and that's where you'll type in the information for your response. And then you'll start to see your other classmates' responses. And then that's where you decide which ones you want to respond to. But remember, the responses have to be good, not just one sentence or 2 sentences. I expect a full paragraph response, not just in your opening response to me in the question that I've asked you here, but also to responding to your classmates. I don't want to see, I agree with you, George, or I agree with you, Mary, or whoever. I want you to say why specifically and what aspects of what they say you agreed with and why. And if you disagree, why you may disagree with what they say. Okay. And you'll find that each of these chapter modules are done exactly the same way. The overviews are laid out, the chapter resources, as they're called, are laid out, and the assignments are all laid out, as well as the last due dates. The due dates are all laid out. In a 6-week class like this, I always make the due dates basically the same. I open up everything for the entire semester. But just because it's open for the session, just because it's open for the full session, I still expect you to get those things done, particularly the discussions. in a timely manner, because they don't help each other, each of you learn from each other unless you do them in a timely fashion. And that's pretty much it. So there's your orientation. And there's, again, you have your chapter resources from the very beginning. So you have those up here that you can access. And then if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me via email, or you can say, if you need to meet with me, we can set up a Zoom meeting, or you can phone call me uh, uh, as you need. Okay. All right. You guys have a great session, and I'll see you in the lectures. All right.